Hello, everyone. Welcome to Chair Yoga. My name is Jill. I use she, her pronouns. And today we're going to work with moving our legs a little bit in fun directions in our chair and also use our strap for stretching and for support while we move our legs around in our chair. So you might want to have your strap or something like it along with your chair, and then maybe your blocks. And I will take all my beverages with me and head over to my chair. And so here, whenever you're ready to go, you can sit. We'll find our centering practice here. And so that might be seated more forward in the chair. It might be back in the chair, relaxing a little bit more, just kind of depending on what your mood is like this morning. It might feel nice to find some gentle movement or rocking as you start to settle in your place. And then if you want to, we're going to start with the strap right away when we're done with this. And so if you want to pick up your strap and have it hanging out in your lap, you sure can. You don't have to bend over for it later. And then once we're settled here, we'll start to find maybe some stillness. Maybe resting down our eyes or finding a spot in front of us that we can look at. Allowing our breath to settle and find an even pattern that feels comfortable. Maybe through your nose or maybe through your mouth, depending on how your nose is doing. Here in this place, we can begin to feel the air as it moves through us. We can notice the air coming in. And then the air that's a little bit warmer coming back out. This air that helps us wake up. It helps nourish our cells. Exhaling the air we don't need. Maybe using our breath to find calm throughout our body. Using the exhales to find a little bit of release, a little bit of softness, anywhere we might be holding tension. Without too much movement right away, knowing that we're moving into our strap work next. It might feel nice to start to lift your individual fingers and give them a little bit of stretch. Noticing how they don't always lift individually on their own. They want to take the other fingers with them. Just giving them your hands also gentle awakening. Maybe pressing the palms into the thighs and then lifting all of the fingers at one time. And taking a few breaths in this stretch. And then releasing, and then maybe trying one finger at a time again. And then maybe lifting all of them together again. Now making a little fist, bringing all the fingers in, maybe wrapping the thumb around the outside and holding that tight. And then pressing the fist into the thighs, lifting the rest of the hand up and curling the top of the hand forward. Taking a few cycles of breath. And then softening the fist back down, unwinding the fingers, and opening them wide one last time here. And then releasing. And then if you haven't opened your eyes yet, you can bring them back open here, maybe finding some wiggling, maybe shaking out the hands. And then we're going to move right into our shoulder stretches with our strap. And so the first thing we're going to do is make circles. And so if at any point you don't want to hold the strap anymore, you don't have to. You can have your strap looped, or you can unloop it. And then here we'll find a stance that feels comfortable while paying attention if we have our metal ring at one end, just to make sure we don't hit ourselves in the face with it. Whenever you're ready, you can start to take the strap overhead, and we'll start to circle in the upper back. Letting the back curl as forward as feels comfortable, and then opening back as far as feels comfortable. Making any adjustments you need with your grip, with the space of the arms. And then we'll gently switch direction. You might notice sometimes there's a little pocket of stretch that feels nice, and you might pause and spend a couple breaths there before you keep moving. And then we'll start to wind down, maybe taking our last couple of circles, and then letting the strap rest in our lap. And then here we'll move into our back and forth, so our V shape with our hands. And so here we'll take the hands as wide as we feel comfortable. And then with that width, we'll inhale, we'll raise the strap up above our head, and then we'll let the strap drift back behind us, letting the arms come down as far as they'll go. If you want to widen the grip, that might let the hands come down a little bit farther. And then when you're ready, lifting up and bringing it forward again. So here I invite you to let your arms rest for as long as you need before you go the other direction. It might be very surprising to get your arms up in the air this quickly. Connecting with your breath, whatever you're up to. Maybe finding a nice inhale as you lift and an exhale as you come back down. And then at any point, if you're feeling really comfortable and open, you might take the hands and sneak them just a little bit closer together and then continue. And just kind of change up the boundary of the arms just to see if they still go back behind you. And they may not. They may stop at a point. And that's okay too. You can be in the stretch there if you want. And then at any point, I invite you to walk the fingers closer one more time, just to, again, see how it goes. They may be moving an inch. It doesn't have to be a big far move. I'm realizing my edge where I have to bend my elbows to get my arms down again, and that's fine. We'll do a couple more passes like this. And then we'll take one last setup. And so now we'll bring the strap or our grip on the strap narrow enough that we know that our arms won't come down behind us. So we get a little bit closer to shoulder width apart. And then we'll find our hold above our head. And so here, I'm letting my arms go back as far as is comfortable here. You can bend the elbows if you'd like. Here, it might feel nice to lift the front of the rib cage, maybe look up a little bit. Couple of breaths. And then we'll inhale to come up and we'll exhale to release. And so here we can give our hands a break. You can let the fingers stretch and wiggle out again. Now we'll do some movement and twisting without our strap to give our hands a break. And so, excuse me, so last week in our practice, we found kind of a rectangle or a square out in front of us, and we brought our face down to the different corners. This time we'll bring the corners back into our imaginary line of vision, and we're going to punch the corners or reach and tap the corners, okay? And so what that's gonna mean is we'll take our opposite hand and we'll reach for the top corner over there, and then we'll reach for the opposite corner, and then we'll reach for the lower opposite corner, and then the lower opposite corner. And so here we go up, up, down, down. And here, finding a rotation that feels nice, finding a reach, a stretch that feels nice. And so it could be a gentle stretch. If you're feeling punchy today, it might be punches where you focus more on the twist, more than taking a stretch. You can play with both. Connecting with the breath to assist in whatever movement you're doing. And then once we've got a good handle on it, we're going to switch directions. So once you get to the bottom of your second side, you'll start to come back across the bottom, and then second side at the top. And we'll do a couple more rounds. And then when you feel complete, whenever that is, you can take some time to rest in your neutral seated position. You can get a sip if you'd like. You can find some gentle wiggling that feels nice. Letting the arms rest down. Now we're going to add a side lean or a side bend here. And so you have the option of using your strap again to give your arms some different feedback as you move into the side lean. So your options could be that you rest the bottom arm in your thigh and leave it there and then stretch the hand on its own. Or if you'd like, you can take both hands in the strap and lean with both arms hovering here. You can rotate the arm into the thigh or onto the thigh anytime you need. And then lifting from our center, we'll come through, and then we'll switch sides whenever we're ready. So these are slightly shorter holds. We'll move back and forth a few times here. And then we'll come through the center, we'll switch. You might play if the bottom arm is free, pulling, and seeing how that changes the sensation. And then lifting tall through the center, switching sides. Inhale, switch. Last time through. Inhale, switch. And then inhale up. And then we'll exhale, we'll release. Now we have one more option with our strap here before we set it down for a little bit again. And so here we can take it again, kind of, maybe we start a little bit wider than our shoulders just to see how it goes. And we're going to move through kind of our eagle arm setup here. And so what that means, and it's kind of weird with the strap, but I like to play with it, is we're going to take one hand higher than the other and we're going to start to cross them. And so what happens when I'm holding the strap, when my fists cross, they're face down, and so you might curl them up and away from each other so that you can walk the strap in once you have your cross. And then you can decide to pull from here or maybe bend the elbows and maybe keep walking the hands around your strap a little bit, finding a grip that feels okay. It's not, you don't have to think about it too deep, but just kind of playing with the idea of creating that bind. And then maybe pulling on the strap, changing the sensation a little bit. Breathe here. And then we'll gently start to release, letting the arms go long again, undoing our cross, maybe resting the arms down for a second, shaking the shoulders. And then we'll kind of walk through that again with the other arm on top. So we'll find our start, and then the other arm goes up and crosses over the top. And then you might start to flip the palms up, maybe walking the bend in the elbow, walking the strap closer there if you want, or you can stay extended out in front of you. And just kind of playing with your edge of comfort in your bind, maybe pulling the strap, maybe not. Settling into your breath. And then starting to gently unwind. And then we can set the strap down for now. So we'll revisit it so you can keep it kind of tucked on your lap if you want. We'll take a little bit of time to stretch the hands back out again. If you want, you can manually lift the fingers, or you can take the fingers onto your thigh and lift the heel of your hand and stretch the fingers with your thighs support. And then we can make a fist again and curl the top of the hand forward here, kind of the motorcycle turns, handle turns there. Taking a last couple of breaths wherever your stretch is right now. And then we'll release. So we'll move down into the legs for a little bit. We're going to find our goddess stance here. And I'll give you the option if you'd like. We're going to stretch the feet out. And so if you want, you can bring the feet up on blocks, but you don't have to. And then in that case, if you are bringing the feet up on the blocks, you're going to walk the heels a little bit closer to you, so it's the ball of the toes that's on the block, okay? And so we'll keep our toes turned out in line with our knee wherever we are. And then we're going to start to press into the balls of the toes and lift the heels. And then soften the heels down. And so if they're softening to the floor, you can then lift up the toes if you want. Or you can press the heel down if you're on the block. Okay, and so it's kind of a flexing and a pointing of the feet here. And so you can start to kind of settle into the shape that feels good, and then find your lifts and your lowers on a pace that feels nice. If there's a stretch that feels particularly nice and you want to breathe in it for a few cycles, go for it. And then we'll go ahead, we'll take one more cycle, lifting, and then setting the feet back down. If we're on the blocks, we can slide them away for a second here, keeping them nearby just in case we want to use them again. And then we're going to take a forward fold, and I want to give you a couple of options from here. And so you could keep both the legs here, and we're going to take them into a kind of a wide squat position here. So it's like our malasana in our chair. We'll keep the toes turned out. We'll take the knees out wide, and then you have the option of taking one of the legs and letting it kind of stretch out straight if you want to do it that way. And that heel could go on the block if you want, or you can kind of push into the block with your foot while it's out here and find a different kind of comfortable position for it. And then what's going to happen is we're going to guide the bent knee at least kind of open as we start to hinge and come forward. And so you might be resting right here on the tops of your legs in this shape. You're finding a stretch for our inner leg. If you want and have that extra block or both of your blocks, your hands could come down if you want. And then find the edge of that fold that feels nice for you. You might keep scooting your butt into the chair if you want. You might continue lowering, maybe not. A few more cycles of breath and wherever you landed. And then we'll start to gently come back up, maybe through our thigh, maybe bringing the leg back under for support if it's far away. Taking all the time we need to sit back up again. And then we're going to do that fold again. So if your legs were even the first time, you can keep them the same way. Or if you had one leg and it was asymmetrical setup, you can set up the other side in a different way if you'd like. And then we'll find that opening in our hips again, sliding our butt as far into the seat as we feel safe. And then we'll start to hinge forward. Finding our safety, our comfort here. Sometimes out in the world, we're like, take risks. I don't really do that when it comes to possibly falling on my head out of a chair. We'll take a few more cycles of breath wherever we landed. And then when you're ready, we can start to walk ourselves back upright, maybe flattening the back first and then using your thighs as guides to help sit back up. And then we can let the feet and the legs rest a little bit. You can windshield wiper the knees toward your center if you'd like. Move them a little closer together if you'd like. And then if you would like to use your strap, we can bring it back into the mix again, or if you're done with the strap today, you don't want to use it. But what we're going to do is we're going to take our first leg back out long again in front of us. And if there wasn't a leg before, you can pick whichever one you want that to be. And you might loop the bottom of your foot here. And we're going to start with some lifts and some lowers here. And so is keeping the foot flexed in, lifting the leg about, as high as your chair, not much higher than that, and then lowering. So finding that movement that feels gentle, that feels safe, sitting nice and tall. You might feel the front of your leg, the top of your leg working to help bring the foot up. And then we're going to add side to side movements to it. And so you can continue to lift, move out to the side and tap the foot down if you'd like, and then bring it to the center and tap it down, or you can leave it raised the whole time. And so just kind of letting it find its comfort and your comfort wherever you are. And then we'll leave the foot out to the side here. And then we'll walk the center foot out to the side. We'll widen the stance again. And then it might feel nice to take a little side bend or a bend away from the long leg here. You could take the strap into the opposite hand if you want and lean away. It's kind of finding some just some movement. It could be a twist away from the leg, just something that feels like I don't have really strong feelings about what that move looks like, but giving that leg a chance to rest and then giving us a chance to kind of find a stretch that feels nice while it's out there. Might feel good. And then we'll lift back to the center and we'll start to bring that leg back to center, and then we'll switch our focus. And so if you're like me and you keep your coffee on your floor really close to one of your feet, you might move it out of the way before you send it swinging. And then we'll start with the lifts and lowers first. Finding your tall seat. And then once you've gotten it, you can start to add the side moves here. So again, you can stay pretty low and keep the leg tapped down to the floor anytime you want, or you can lift and kind of swing. So whatever feels fun here. And then we'll start to leave the foot out to the side. We'll set it down. And then we'll find some sort of movement that complements this stretch. So again, it could be like a twist if you want, or a lean, or maybe you switch the grip and let the arm rest and do a side bend away from that leg. Just whatever feels helpful and nice here. Maybe a little bit of both. Some twisting and some leaning might feel nice. A few less breath cycles wherever you are. And then we'll gently start to bring ourselves back upright. And then we'll bring our leg to the center. And then we'll take a little bit of reset. Now I'd like to offer a couple of different leg movements together as we find a tree pose shape in our chair. And so we're going to think about one foot to start. And so we did our really wide squat shape. And then we also did heel lift. And so here what you can do as you find tree, like a tree foundation in your chair, you can decide if you like the foot staying on the floor where it is, or you might start to guide the lifted heel closer to your other leg and still keep it on the floor. Another option you might take is bringing the block in and lifting the toe onto the block. It might feel like a lot. All right. So this might feel like a beautiful foundation to grow from. And so if you feel comfortable here and want to sit up and then maybe grow branches, anything like that, you can stay here. You could also add straightening the other leg out like you're standing. Taking a couple of breaths wherever you landed, wherever your legs landed. My tree is it's very palm tree, one that likes to weave in the breeze. And then we'll start to let the hands come down if they're up. And then we'll gently, if the one leg extended, you might step it back in for support as we start to release our first leg down. It might feel nice to wiggle it out, circle the ankle after holding that toe point for a while. And then we'll find our tree balance with our other leg. And so here again, starting from neutral, finding that wide squat position with the other leg, and then lifting up onto the toes maybe. And then from here, that might already feel comfortable and you're kind of ready to settle, or you might start to bring the foot closer to your other leg. You might step that foot onto a block if you want. And then once you feel like you've got your foundation, you can grow your branches in whatever way makes sense here. So here we're nice and tall. At least tall in our spine, but our arms can be doing whatever they want to be doing. It might feel nice to wave in the breeze. And then we'll kind of on our pace, on our time, we'll start to wind down our practice. Letting the hands come back down. Oh, I say you could straighten that other leg. I forgot that part. You could have done that if you want. And then if it's back out, you can step it back in. We can start to release our foot. We can wiggle the legs out. We can circle the other ankle here if we need. And then if there's any other movement our body is seeking to shake out any other tension you may have been holding. And then we'll start to bring ourselves into our kind of recentering or relaxation, however you'd like to regard this time. Maybe allowing yourself finally to soften down, rest back in your chair. It might feel nice to put your feet up on blocks when you rest back in your chair, because my floor tends to get a little far away when I do this here. Here it might feel nice to tuck the chin to the chest. And in this place, we can bring our awareness back to our air that moves into our body. Noticing the coolness of it as it comes in and the warmth of it as it leaves. Here, if you're leaning back in your seat, you might, with your eyes closed and relaxed, you might come up back to your upright seat. And then maybe bringing the hands to heart center, or maybe palm on palm over the heart. Sending gratitude for this air, the breeze that moves within us, that moves within the trees, that reminds us of renewal, of the spring that is coming, the fresh air that we need each and every day. And I thank you so much for sharing practice with me today. It's always so nice to see you. Peace.